just going to talk a little bit about Reach versus Shark, which to me is the other highlight of the night, and a game I am looking forward to a lot. Both of these guys, I'm sure you guys have read the post on teamliquid.net from DJ Etter, and again, props to DJ for such an informative post and write-up, and it's really, really great to have something like that available, and it's a great service to the StarCraft community. And really, Team Liquid and SC2.org are both fantastic sites, and I'm really grateful that they are around. Without them, none of us would be able to enjoy StarCraft the way we can. So, as I said, Reach versus Shark is a game I'm really looking forward to. As DJ Etter has pointed out, neither of these players is very strong in this matchup. Excuse me, Reach having a record of 1-5 Protoss versus Zerg, and Shark having a record of 0-3 Zerg versus Protoss. And you know, I hope we don't end up seeing a comedy of errors here from both players, though I doubt that to be the case. The thing is, though, that Reach has been in absolutely frightening form. He has just been tearing people to shreds. I mean, he introduced Justin to his friend Payne a couple of weeks ago on Python, and that was an absolutely fantastic game to watch. And Reach has shown some very, very solid play, and he looks to be right back at the top of his form. He's also played some really good 2v2s in the Pro League, and I know he has lost a lot in singles in the Pro League, but I don't think that is really a commentary on how Reach is and where he's doing right now in the tournament. And in terms of his form. So I think it is a little bit unfair to say that Reach is not in top form. I do feel that Reach is almost back in his prime, and I think this game against Shark is going to be a test of that, and it's going to be a demonstration of that, and it's going to be the first time that we will be able to see how... Sorry, someone's just asking me for the IP of the vent channel there, so I'm just going to spam it. And this is going to be the first time that we're really going to be able to judge and see how much of the original Reach is back with us, how far he is going to be able to go in this tournament, how much he is going to dominate. Unfortunately, and perhaps fortunately for Reach, I don't rate Shark very, very highly as a Zerg player. I do think he is a very good player, and he does have some things that he does do very, very well. Shark's strengths, I feel, are mainly in his macro game. Shark is very much a macro Zerg player. He likes to expand. He likes to overwhelm his opponent with units. But Shark is missing that edge that you see from great players like Savior, or even kind of pretty good players like GG Play. And where I feel Shark is weak is firstly in multitasking, and secondly in micro. I do feel that Shark's multitasking is a little bit weak. I've seen him waste units and not micro them properly in games where he hasn't been keeping an eye out on what's been going on. He might be doing something else, and there's a small encounter in the middle where he uses a few units carelessly. He doesn't use his Scourge to the best of their potential. He isn't the best. He doesn't have the best Mutalist micro either when it comes to using those Mutalists. I mean, we saw some absolutely frightening Mutalist micro from July Zerg in the Challenge League of the OGN series. I'm not sure if any of you guys watched that, but it was frightening to see. And one of the things I noticed that July Zerg does that very few other players, and I'm sorry I'm going on a rant about July here, off on a tangent, I know, I apologize for that, but I just wanted to say this, that one of the things that July does so beautifully, and this is what is the key thing about his Mutalist micro, is that he's absolutely fearless. He is completely and utterly intrepid in his use of those Mutalists. And what he does is, he actually rides the line between the players, between his opponent's main and their natural expansion. And he actually rides his Mutalists up along the ridge of the hill that divides a player's main from that expansion. And he uses that advantage. He forces the players, especially Terran players, to move their medic and marine forces back and forth between those two, constantly keeping them off balance, and therefore picking them off as they come around. And by doing that, what he does is he doesn't present the full face of his Mutalist to the full face of the marine attack. He always has it so that only a few marines can reach his Mutalists at any one time, and that is really the key to Mutalist micro. I've found is to not have your Mutalist exposed to too many opposing fire at any single point in time. So that's just my little spiel about July, who I am an absolutely huge fan of, and I'm really glad to see him back in form, and hopefully he will dominate this season in the MSL, and hopefully that he will be in the OSL next season. Certainly, judging from his play in the Challenge League, where he went up against some very, very good players, hopefully he will be able to come up. I do see a microphone symbol going on for Pressany Boy. I don't know who that guy is. I'm not sure if that is affecting the cast, because I've got my sound muted here. So If that is, I'm sorry, I have no control over this. As I said, this is a public Ventrilo channel. I don't have a dedicated Ventrilo channel, unfortunately, to cast on. So anyway, so that's Reach versus Shark. I would definitely give the edge to Reach. Obviously, it's been pointed out that the map is Hitchhiker, and it's 5-0 Protoss versus Zerg on Hitchhiker, and that's a pretty telling statistic. No Zerg wins versus Protoss on Hitchhiker in this tournament. So that is very, very telling, and I have always felt that Hitchhiker isn't really a great map for Zerg players. I'm not really sure why that imbalance is. Some people have argued that it's really mythical, that it's not really an imbalance. I guess we'll find out today. But considering the fact that Zerg versus Protoss isn't Shark's strongest matchup, and considering the fact that he is playing on a map that is considered to be imbalanced, I won't say that I consider it, but just definitely considered generally to be imbalanced, it's impossible. You know, I would say that Reach would definitely be the favorite in this matchup. Alright guys, I'm back, and so that was disappointing. It was an exciting game. So far, both games today have been pretty quick. They've been cheese kind of rush games, and they've been fun to watch. Definitely rush games are fun to watch, but I was hoping for an UV Firebat Hero style game, or a Boxer Flash style game, you know, a 30-minute game with intense dropship play around the map. But unfortunately, we never got to that stage. Dark Elf closing out the game, and I have to say that going for those spider mines early on was a stroke of genius by Dark Elf. I'm not sure if he made that decision after he scouted Nada going for that fast expand. I mean, he didn't have. I don't think he did. I think, you know, I guess it's fair. It's unfair of me to say it was a stroke of genius. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, because Nada did deny him the scout very, very effectively. And by the time Dark Elf actually got into Nada's main and was laying down those spider mines, that was the time when his bunker was actually able to float over, and he was able to see that Nada had got that command center up. So Dark Elf's instincts obviously paying off in that game. Nevertheless, I did tell you guys, I did promise you guys that Python makes for exciting games, and whatever else you can say about that game, you cannot say that it was not entertaining to watch. And it was really seat of the pants kind of stuff. Unfortunately, Nada was snuffed out. So the next game is going to be on Hitchhiker, and that's going to be between Reach and Shark. And as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Shark. I am a fan of Zerg players, and I always like to watch Zerg players do well, but I am not a fan of Shark, because I still feel that he is a bit of a rough diamond. He is a little bit unsure. He is a little bit not edgy. He doesn't have that edge. He doesn't have that something extra that would make him a special player. He is a little bit off. I do feel he's a little bit of a cookie-cutter Zerg macro player who is just trying to copy Savior. And again, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, and I apologize to any Shark fans out there if I am being a little bit harsh. But when he demonstrates to me that he can be innovative and that he can be brilliant, then I will give him the credit for it. Reach has been brilliant. And is brilliant, and he has been playing some amazing games this season, and he has given us really, really entertaining games to watch. His absolute decimation, the level of multitasking skill he displayed versus Iris on Fantasy, on Mongwan, was just beautiful to watch. Simultaneous Reaver drops in Iris's Expo and main, and Iris was just made to look like a complete noob, and Iris is no mug. But Reach certainly gave him the runaround. Reach gave him the reach around in that game, and obviously, you know, I expect Reach to come out on top. Hitchhiker is set to be a map that favors Zerg. That favors Protoss over Zerg, and I can understand why that is the case, because it's very difficult for Zerg to kind of defend on that map. They can put up an expansion and defend it from it, but they can still be attacked from behind the ramp. And Protoss players are very, very good at proxying. Protoss is the best proxy race out of all three. Obviously, Zerg being the weakest. I can't remember when I ever saw a Zerg proxy. I think I once saw some guy build a secret hatchery inside the other guy's main. I think that was actually yellow, and that was just hilarious. I think he unfortunately lost that game. So Zergs aren't really known for proxying, but Protoss are obviously the proxy race in StarCraft because of their ability to just build buildings in the middle of nowhere. And that does mean that a Zerg player versus a Protoss player has to think about a lot of different areas a lot of different avenues from which they can be attacked, and sorry, I was just reading the chat there in sc2.org. I'm not sure how good I am at casting in reply to whoever it was that was asking. I just enjoy it. So anyway, as I was saying, this map, I didn't have a lot of faith in this map. I initially thought it was an unbalanced map and that it wouldn't make for fun games, but then we had that game between Savior and Midas where Savior went for Guardians, and I think most of us were in shock to see that, although a couple of people did predict that that was a viable strategy. No one else has used it. No one else has won versus Terran on Hitchhiker as Zerg using Guardians. I think Gorash tried and failed miserably. But Savior obviously, was able to produce the goods. And as I said, I don't know if Shark has what it takes to beat a player of Reach's caliber in his prime. Obviously, Zerg versus Protoss, Protoss versus Zerg is not Reach's best matchup. As DJ Etter has reported on Team Liquid, he is 1-5 in that matchup, and obviously that's not testimony to how great he is. But I don't think that, as I've said before, I don't think that's a commentary on Reach's form. Reach is a very, very good player. And right now he is in the prime of his form. His instincts are sharp. His reflexes are spot on. His game sense and strategy are absolutely untouchable. And he has just been ripping through his opponents with malevolence, with absolute disdain, with absolute disregard for any sense of dignity for his opponents. And when Reach is in that form, when Reach is in that vein, he is unstoppable. And this season is the season of the comebacks. This is the season where we have seen July Zerg return to form. We've seen Reach return to form. Hopefully we'll see Yellow and Choja return to form. We've seen Boxer finally display what we know that he can do, come out on top against players like Nalra and against players like Flash. So we have seen this definitely is the season of resurgence. Gorush has been doing really, really well. Gorush has been destroying Terran players left, right, and center. But I think Gorush's play was really put into perspective. Gorush's current form was really put into perspective in that match that he played against Nada, in that ace match between SKT1 and Tantek X, where Nada made Gorush look like a noob, where Gorush rushed for the first time in God knows how long and lost. So that was an interesting game to watch, and I have a lot of questions that I have to ask that I feel Gorush needs to answer before I will put him back up on the pedestal. Unfortunately, Gorush is going to be playing July Zerg in the next round of the MSL, and I'm very, very disappointed about that, because I would have liked to see both those players. Not only because I would like to see both of those players progress further, and I want Gorush. I don't want Gorush to lose in a Zerg versus Zerg game, because if he does, then we will still have so many unanswered questions about his form, because you cannot judge a player based on a Zerg versus Zerg matchup. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't mean anything. Just because you've won Zerg versus Zerg doesn't mean you're great. Just because you've lost Zerg versus Zerg doesn't mean you're a noob. It doesn't mean anything. It's just completely and utterly unpredictable. And therefore, I would like to have seen either of those players going out playing against Protoss or Terran players. But this is the luck of the draw. This is the unfortunate situation. And if Gorush does lose to July Zerg, his fans are still going to say, it was Zerg versus Zerg. It's not, he's still back. He's still in prime form. He was just unlucky to go up in a Zerg versus Zerg game. And the fact that Zerg versus Zerg is a very Mutalisk heavy matchup in general would kind of favor July because of his feared micro, because he has just absolutely impeccable Mutalisk micro. So anyway, we're going to jump in here and we're going to be watching the game between Reach versus Shark on Hitchhiker. And as I said, I fully expect Reach to come out on top. In terms of strategy, I think it'll be hard to predict what the players might do. Reach is unpredictable. He can rush, or he can tech, or he can macro. Considering the nature of Hitchhiker, I wouldn't be surprised to see Reach rushing, Excuse me, he will be able to get that early scout in. He knows exactly where the Zerg player's base is. And I think if Shark goes for if Shark tries to be too cute, if Shark tries to be too greedy, if Shark goes for kind of a 3-hatch build straight away without getting a spawning pool up quickly, without having any form of defense, he's going to find himself overrun very, very quickly. And I think that would be foolish of Shark to try and do that. I think most likely we'll probably see Shark playing kind of spawning pool first, then hatchery. I think 9 pool would probably be the most safe strategy, and I think that's what Shark will be going for. But maybe Shark will surprise us. So this is the test. This is the stage. The stage has been set, and this is the test to see which of these two players can confirm that they deserve to be here. Reach, I do feel, does very much deserve to be here. But the question is, can he withstand the test of a Zerg player, considering it's his weakest matchup? And the question for Shark is, how good really is he? Does he deserve to be here? And I think Shark has yet to prove that he deserves to be able to play on this big stage. Unfortunately, Reach has got that really, really nice booth girl standing next to him, and you know, as handsome as I am, I don't think I could compete with Reach for her attention. So I'm gonna let Reach have her. Just this once, Reach, you can have her. You probably, on the balance of things, all things considered, just marginally deserve her better than I do. But Shark, on the other hand, is just a little bit of a pretty boy, I have to say. So you know, I can steal his booth girl, no problem. And you know, and I wouldn't be surprised if Reach steals Shark's booth girl, because you know, Reach is a man, and obviously he is the man toss. So anyway, back to the game. Enough about the booth girls and my perversions therein. And yes, actually, I'd like to ask you guys, which do you think? I mean, the resolution isn't very great here of the video that I'm watching. If you had to compare, who would you say had the better booth girl, Reach or Shark? And this is horribly sexist of us, you know. But you know, I don't think there are any girls listening to this shoutcast. So when girls aren't around, it's okay to be sexist. You know, and it's okay to be a male chauvinist. And it's not okay, but you know, we do it because I'm just completely, I should stop talking because I'm just digging myself deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. And if a girl listens to this, I will be beaten up. But obviously I can always, you know, tell them that, hey, I was kidding, and that always seems to work, and apologize in flowers and chocolates and all that. So anyway, back to StarCraft. Reach versus Shark. I think Reach is going to win. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win emphatically. I think he's going to win without question, and I think he is going to I think he's going to pull Shark's pants down and give him a spanking, and leave Shark with marks after this game. I think he is going to introduce Shark to the same friend that he introduced Justin to a couple of weeks ago, that being Pain, and I think Shark is going to get a real schooling here, and I think Shark is going to learn a lesson, and this will be an experience for Shark. I think Shark has to still demonstrate to us that he can multitask well, that he can micro well, and he's going to have to produce that against Reach, because Reach is so damn good at multitasking. I'm still in awe of that game that Reach played versus Iris, and his multitasking skills there. Reach is just so damn good at multitasking, and if Shark is unable to multitask well, he is going to find himself overrun, and I do favor Shark to make more mistakes in this matchup. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a break for a few seconds while the intro plays and I agree with losing ID 8 that Reach should have a fairly comfortable time of it in this game. But I think the one mistake Reach can make, and the one mistake Reach could potentially make, is being overconfident. I think he could end up being overconfident, and if he is overconfident, if he doesn't play to his potential, if he doesn't play as he knows he can play, he might end up gifting the game to Shark, and we might see the first win for a Zerg player versus Protoss on this map. So here we go.